We executed this project with two guiding questions. First, how do differences in mulch type affect plant growth? And second, how does nitrogen input affect plant growth? To answer these questions, we will examine data we collected for plant weight, plant height, and canopy cover. This video will discuss our plot design, water management, nitrogen application, data collection, and finally, our data analysis. To set up our plot, we first assembled our bucket drip irrigation system.
Your container. You can use that from now on through the quarter there.
Tubing ran from the bottom of a 32-gallon bucket mounted on a 1-meter-high platform to a grid of drip tape that measured 10 meters by 10 meters.
2 hamburgers and a hot dog. Yep.
We planted alternating broccoli and cauliflower transplants on either side of each of the 10 strips of drip tape.
We tested 2 different types of mulch, reflective plastic mulch and wheat straw mulch. 2 rows would serve as controls for broccoli and cabbage with no cover.
This is our watermark data logger monitor, and this basically collects and stores the data from 6 sensors that we have placed throughout the plot.
In order to get a better idea as to what was happening beneath the soil, we installed 7 gypsum granular matrix tensiometers at depths of 6, 12, and 18 inches throughout our plot. By measuring the water potential in the soil, the sensors would give us some idea of soil water content. We could then use these sensors as a backup monitoring method to our water budget to ensure that we weren't stressing our plants.
Irrigation management is a really key part of farming. In our situation, we had 3 sources of information. We had the watermark sensors, we used our water budget, and we also looked at the condition of the plants. And in general, we followed the watermark sensors most of the time. What we would do is just regularly check the watermark numbers, and we would make sure that if the numbers were above the level that says you're supposed to irrigate, then we would irrigate our fields.
Over the course of the experiment, we added fertilizers on 3 occasions via fertigation. We added Uran 32, which consists of 3 different forms of nitrogen: ammonia, nitrate, and urea. We treated 2 rows and left the matching rows untreated. So these first 2 of broccoli and cauliflower were treated with nitrogen with 2 extra doses of an equivalent of 50 pounds per acre. These 2 rows of straw mulch, broccoli, and cauliflower were treated as well, while their corresponding rows were left with only a 25-pound dose of nitrogen at the very beginning of the project.
To perform the nitrogen quick test, 10 core samples were taken from 10 random spots along each drip line. The soil from these samples was mixed uniformly by hand. Then a small sample from this mixture was added to 30 milliliters of solution in a graduated cylinder, and this was then thoroughly shaken. After several minutes, once the solids had settled to the bottom of the cylinder, a nitrogen test strip was dipped into the clear liquid at the top. After 60 seconds, the color of the strip was compared to the test standards to determine the nitrate concentration.
In order to quantify the differences between mulch and nitrogen treatments, average fresh weight of above-ground plant material was recorded weekly through destructive harvest. Above-ground plant material was used in place of whole plants, as whole roots can be quite difficult and tedious to retrieve, making such data possibly inaccurate. The average fresh weight data from the different mulch treatments clearly showed the benefits of using mulch on accumulation of dry matter. Plastic mulch treatment accumulated most dry matter, while bare soil accumulated least. Accumulation of dry matter was found to be further enhanced by the presence of additional nitrogen, as shown by the dashed lines in the graph.
To look at plant height, we've been taking 10 weekly measurements from plants in each substrate, the bare, straw, and plastic. What we've been doing is taking measurements from the ground up to this new growth point. And what we're doing with this data is we're looking at growth rates between the 3 substrates, but but also between rows of crops that have received extra doses of N and those that have not. We can see very few significant differences in plant height across substrates. The level nature of this visualization tells us that plant height is not an important indicator of our crop's reaction to the different conditions created by each substrate. Instead, canopy cover is what tells the story best.
To measure canopy cover each week, we placed a 1 meter by 1 meter frame over plants in each condition of the plot. Standing directly over the frame, we then estimated the percentage of the square space that was plant foliage. From this sampling, we were able to estimate the total canopy cover of our plot.
Nitrogen treatments are indicated by the red vertical lines. Crops that were treated with nitrogen are represented by solid lines. They are paired with untreated rows in the same color but with dashed lines. Crops that were given more nitrogen did see some overall increase in growth, more so in broccoli. However, rain events alone, indicated in the blue, seem to have an even greater effect on the canopy. My experience, I prefer broccoli, definitely.
Broccoli, how are you feeling today?
Our cabbage or cauliflower, whatever that is not pulling us weight.
I think I'm really focused on details and numbers and not so much on looking at qualitative data, and everyone is more interested in looking at how big the roots were.
Got a couple different root balls here.
I think the toughest part of this project was figuring out a good way to measure how much water we should be using.
I would say one difficult thing about the project is maintaining consistent data collection, both the schedule and the techniques.
Finally got the hang of it and got a good schedule going towards the end.
Dan is the dried macaroni. I'd probably be the string.
Each person does things a little bit differently.
Together we make art.
Carl just said I'm good at media coverage and I feel really good about myself now.
We had a lot of different personality types on our team. Several D's.
D?
D.
D personality?
D personality.
Yeah, definitely the D personality.
Whatever you want, Conrad.
Okay.
And we ended up with a very solid group.
Oh, but how could you or I or anyone know how oats, peas, beans, and barley grow?
Don't film.
Carl is stuck inside of the probe.
Thank you, Jeff Mitchell!
Broccoli!
Well, no. What I'm really concerned